lovely friends, it's Margaret, and today it is time to talk, once again, about reading books. Since I've been on BookTube, I've gotten really bad about rereading books the last couple of years, just because, you know, there are so many new books that are coming out, and I have to keep up with all of them, even though I don't at all, and it's a lot. Okay? Yeah, it's a lot. So, in order to kind of counteract, I think counteract is the word. Every year I do try and make a list of books that I want to reread. We never got around to that last year in 2020, but I did have one in 2019 and I reread a couple of those, so that's good. I'm gonna be honest, most of the time I just forget that I have made this list and end up rereading Percy Jackson. Long story short, I have a list of like 10 books that I would like, well, books/series that I would like to read. If I'm holding up a book and it's part of a series, just assume that I want to reread the entire series. Will it be this year? Probably not. But I'm gonna try anyways. It's an option. I like having options. First on this list is all of the Grisha books that I have read. I have not gotten to King of Scars yet. They're not getting that far in the TV show yet, but the TV show is coming out, in theory, this year, and so I need to reread the Shadow and Bone series, and I want to reread the Six of Crows series. I have some plans, at least for this trilogy. I have the entire trilogy. Netflix printed the sticker on the cover of the book, and I'm not okay about it, okay? Anyways, I've got this lovely, like, fantastic sprayed edges collector's edition. I did not know that this was a thing, but I got it, and I remember liking this series enough that I would love to have an edition of this that matches the Six of Crows editions that I'm going to have. So hopefully they do the rest of these in this edition as well, because I would like options that don't have stickers on their front. This is in a world where there is this magic system where you have the Grisha, and the Grisha, like, there are 3 different types. You have the types that can work with it, like, they're, what is it? Hold on. They've got actual names. Okay, so you have the Corporalki, which are able to work with, like, the living and the dead. You have the Etherealki, which are able to work with, like, the elements. And then you have the Materialki, which are able to work, like, also with elements, but, like, one of them is nature elements and one of them is more scientific elements, like, you know, metals and stuff. So this series follows a girl who finds out that she is a Grisha, and then this is in the same world, but it is a different cast of characters. Almost everyone in this series is a Grisha. Well, not everyone, but like the main character in this one is a Grisha. Not all the main characters in this one are Grisha. It's about this group of 6 people who are having to pull off a heist, and then things go wrong. So the next series that I want to do is the Leviathan series by Scott Westerfeld. This is a reimagining of World War I that's kind of sci-fi. Well, it's not sci-fi, it's steampunk. Steampunk might be an element of sci-fi, but it's steampunk. And so you have one side of the war, which is England, and they are the ones that have started working with animals and making, like, chimera, basically. They make these chimera because Darwin has unlocked the gene code or the DNA or whatever it is. Somehow people are able to experiment this way. And then you have the mechs on the other side, which is Germany, Austria. Oh, look, here, you can see it kind of in the map. Do you see that map? So anyways, I just love this series. This would be the 3rd time that I am rereading it, and I love the 2 main characters. Darren and Alec are just amazing, and I love them. And I also love the fact that there are, ooh, that's probably a spoilery one, but there are pictures in this. Oh, look, there's one of the creatures. That's Darren with one of the creatures. Yeah, okay. Anyways, so I just love this. I love the fact that it has illustrations in it. I think that there need to be more young adult and adult books that have illustrations like this, and I would like to reread it because it is a wonderful series. The next one is a trilogy that I'm not sure I want to keep on my shelves. I remember when I reread it, or read it the first time, I was just not happy with how it ended. However, I was dumber then, because somehow I decided the guy I liked in the love triangle was the 22-year-old who had slept with a 13-year-old, and I'm just like, it's a whole setup in the world, really complicated, we'll get into it, and I'm just like, you know, I am questioning 19-year-old Margaret's thought processes there, or 20-year-old, 22-year-old Margaret's thought processes, and I think I might actually have different thoughts about this trilogy now that I'm 33. 10, 11 years later. So I want to reread this series. I want to see if it's something that I want to keep on my shelves, if I still like it, and all of that good stuff. But the first book is Wither by Lauren DeStefano. This is in this world where we have eradicated all disease, any human element, anything that can, like, kill a person besides old age has been done with. Except then, like, the parent generation was fine, but then the next generation turns out humans only live to be like 24 if you're a woman, and like 20, like they don't make it past the mid-20s, and it's slightly different between women and men. And so they've created this culture where they will find brides for these young men, the rich people have. They will find brides for these young men so the family can continue on because the generations are so much shorter, and then the main purpose of those wives is just to make babies so the family can continue on. I remember being really invested in this. I'm really wanting a redemption arc for the main dude. But now I'm like, wait a minute, what was up with me? I'm actually surprised with how it ended. I'm surprised that it is still on my shelves. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but yeah, we're gonna reread it and see if I have different feelings and different thoughts, because 22-year-old Margaret she had questionable taste. I should have started this up here, so we're gonna move everything. So the next series I want to reread, I only have one of the books for reasons. Well, I actually think I own 2 of them because I have the ebook for one of them, like the one that's after this, the one that I own. But I have the Fiery Heart. I want to reread the Bloodlines series. I do need to finish reading the Vampire Academy series. Oh, you can't see them anymore. They're down there. I want to finish rereading the Vampire Academy series first, and then I want to dive into rereading this series because I love it. Oh my gosh. This was such a good series. Can we talk about character growth and redemption arcs and badass women? And oh, I just love Sydney as a main character. She is the superior Rochelle Mead female protagonist. The love interest is also the superior love interest in any Rochelle Mead book, I'm sure. I've only read 2 of her series, but like any Rochelle Mead. This is my expert and professional opinion because apparently I'm a professional reader, according to NetGal. I've been wanting to reread it for 2 years at this point, and so I need to. And I think this one is actually going to hold up pretty well because it was newer, and the things that I loved about this couple, like, they are things that I still love in stories. Okay, the next one that I want to talk about is Lazaretto by Diana McKinney Weston. I listened to this as an audiobook the first time, and I really want to be able to sit down with it and annotate this time around because I loved this book so much. So this is kind of an intergenerational story that spans several decades in the North after Lincoln's assassination. It kind of focuses on, we'll say, a couple of Black families that are having to deal with life up north, which was not all that much better than life in the South for Black people. It's heart-wrenching, it is hard. The things these people go through in this book are not things people should have to go through. But also the story is just so rewarding, and I love it so much. This was one of my favorite books of 2019. It just blew me away. Like, I enjoyed it, and I was not expecting to love it as much as I would, except the way all that ending brought about, and like, it almost made me cry. And books that do that tend to end up on my favorites books of the year because that doesn't happen very often. Another one that's a series that I want to reread, well, it's a duology, so thankfully it's not a lot, is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I have loved everything that I've read by Renee Ahdieh so far, but nothing have I loved more than I loved this book. The romantic person who absolutely adores angst and tension and yearning and all of that stuff and reasons why people should not be together. That person just ate this book up. If you have read it, you know what scene just had me flat out on the ground, just questioning life and the universe and so happy. This is a retelling of the Scheherazade myth, and it is one that makes whatever the guy's name is, I can never remember that. I just remember Scheherazade because she's the important person. Whatever the guy's name, it makes his choices and what he's doing less repugnant than in the original story where he's just like, I hate women, so I'm gonna murder them. Whoa. Kind of over that narrative. I also have been talking about rereading Fullmetal Alchemist by Hiromu Arakawa. I am going to reread this year. It is happening. I am not going to say the word manifesting because I hate that word so much. But I am speaking it into existence. I am telling future Margaret that this is happening, okay? It's happening. It might be happening this weekend. I don't know. I definitely would knock off some prompts on my Avengers TBR that I haven't been working on. Anyways, so this is about a boy named Edward He is the Fullmetal Alchemist, and he's very good at alchemy. But he is so good at alchemy that his kind of gotten him into trouble, and now he's trying to get himself out of that trouble and undo the mistakes of his past. I love this series. It's my favorite manga to ever exist. Granted, I haven't read much manga in the last 10, 15 years, but, like, I don't think you can top Fullmetal Alchemist for me. I just don't. It was perfect. Next, we do need to talk about the Witchland series. I need to reread this because the 4th book is coming out. It's been a couple years since I read these books, and I love them so much. Safi and Merrick are my life. So this is in a world where some people have magic. They're called witches. Safi, the main character of this book, is a truth witch, and she is very, very rare. Like, there are not a lot of, she may be the only one, I think, so far that we have seen. Like, she is under the impression that she is the last truth witch in existence. And the problem with that is truth witches are very valuable to people who are in politics. And Safi happens to be pretty high up there, and so people kind of have figured out that she is a truth witch. She's been hiding it her entire life. So her uncle ends up, like, arranging for her to be kidnapped by someone whose name will remain unmentioned, but he arranges for her to be kidnapped and taken away from wherever it is she lives. I can't remember the names of any of these countries. It's fine. I remember the 2 that are important. But she is taken away with her best friend Isolde, and they're, like, she's not, kind of not having it and kind of pissed about it. But she kind of has this growth moment where she realizes that she is very privileged. It's a lot, but I love it. I love the world building. I love the characters. I love the story. I cannot wait for book 4. That's going to be Isolde's book, and I just need whatever happened at the end of Bloodlines for a character who will remain unmentioned. I need it to be undone and fixed, so he is no longer by himself, and he is finally with his girlfriend again. Another series that I have been meaning to reread, but just haven't gotten around to it, is the Heist Society series by Ali Carter. I don't think I've reread this since the final book came along. I know I've reread books 1 and 2 multiple times. Book 3 was kind of disappointing, mostly because there was not going to be a book 4, despite the author wanting there to be more books, because her last series has 6 of them. There are 6 there. There should be 6 here as well. I just love this series. It is about Kat Bishop, and she is from a family of, like, thieves. They're like the, you know, the Ocean's 11 crew. Like, that's her family. Like, her father, her uncles, her aunts. I don't know if she has any aunts. I only remember the father and the uncles. Anyways, her father gets into trouble in this one, and so someone is like, hey, if you steal this painting, which you can see in her glasses, if you steal this painting, we will let your father go. And she teams up with a billionaire and some of her friends. They create this little heist crew, and I love it. The final one that I am going to be trying to reread this year is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. I love this series. I've read all of the books so far, except for the most recent one, which is like 10 Things to Hate About Pinky. I want to maybe reread this and book 2 in this series before I reread that one. I just feel like that's a smart idea. Don't know if I will reread From Twinkle with Love, because that one's not necessarily, like, it's the same author and kind of the same world. Like, I think one of the characters is mentioned, but she's not part of this particular, so like this is the trilogy and it's a standalone. I'm not entirely sure. This is about Dimple Shah, and she wants to be a app developer, and she ends up going to this she ends up going to this summer program at a college in California, which I cannot remember the name of anymore. It's fine. But she ends up going, and the only reason she finds out that her parents let her go is they set her up with a boy, because they are trying to arrange a marriage for her, because they are very, very traditional when it comes to romance and what women are supposed to do and all of that. I don't remember them being completely unsupportive, but I do remember them having very specific ideas of what Dimple should be doing. And so I want to reread this, and you know, I've heard some things. I've had people talk about some of the stuff that happens in here, and I'm just like, yeah, let's revisit this. Let's see what I think about it now. I still think I'm going to love it, just because I remember just loving them and them being stupid. That just stupid people being in love is my favorite thing, I guess. Right, so those are 10 books / series. I think they're all 10 series with the exception of Lazaretto that I would like to reread, because I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, and I like creating expectations for myself that I will not meet, or I'm going to have a hard time meeting, or will probably throw out halfway through the year. But you know what? If you don't set the expectations, how are you supposed to know that the plan doesn't work for you? If you are feeling chatty, let me know in the comments if there are any books this year that you want to reread. If you are not feeling chatty, just give me like the stack of books emoji just to let me know you got to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, there will be videos over here that you can check out. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!